What up racer, it's Jerone here and welcome back to another league racing video. Today we're here in AOR and we only have 4 rounds left in this championship. And today we're visiting the continent of Asia, and to be more specific, we're here in Japan in Suzuka. Personally, track I kind of do like, but I'm not really strong around here, so we'll need to see what I can do today. Anyways, if you missed the previous race around Portugal, go check that one out. It was one of my best races, I would say, so go check that one out. Anyways, apologies for being a little bit late with uploading this video. I had to do a lot of things throughout this week, so couldn't make this video earlier. Anyways, looking at the standings, I was a bit late to capture them, so for myself it's 218 points, and then Solid Ninja, my nearest rival, on 162, so at this moment in time I'm more than 2 race wins ahead of my nearest championship rival. So in theory, if I don't mess up this race completely, I should be able to manage this championship quite well. So as usual, I like to do a medium soft in qualifying, so first set of time on the mediums, and then use 2 sets of softs such that you have 1 fresh set left for the race. For now, provisionally put it into P4 but back into the pit lane. It's already P6 on a 28.9. Not really a lap I was happy with. I know I can do low 28s on good laps, so we're still basically nearly a full second off of my potential. So I can definitely improve in my final run in qualifying. At the moment though, provisional pole for Gabs, well actually scrap that. Basti just put in a 28.3 and he's doing a slow in lap now to save his tires. So let's see what I can do. Heading down the start-finish straight, opening up DRS, and we'll stay full throttle for about 10 seconds, then heading into turn 1, turn in just before the 50, try to optimize the track as much as you dare, then try to be as early on the power as possible as we make our way into the S's. You don't want to touch any of the curbs, but you want to be as close as possible to all the curbs. Then for this right-hander I turned it a little bit too early, which definitely cost a little bit of time, then going up Dunlop, try to stay as close to the left hand side as possible, turn in right at the 50, could have optimized the track on the left a little bit more, but overall it's quite a decent first sector I would say. Then braking for this hairpin, a little bit too late on the brakes, but it's not too bad I would say, getting clean traction coming out of it, which is very important. Currently more than 3/10 up on my delta, so we're looking for 0.5 at the moment. Then going through Spoon, braking a bit too late and missing the apex completely I would say. So that cost about a 10th there. Not optimal, but we'll still have to push on and try to optimize our grid position as we've currently dropped down to 8th place. So 2.5 tenths up, heading into the Casio triangle. Brake bias to 52% to keep the rear end stable. And as we make our way to the start finish line again, it's nearly a 3/10 improvement, and this will put us in 3rd place. So 28.6, not extremely happy with that lap, but I guess it does the job, puts me in 3rd place on the grid. Teammate 2nd, Basti with the pole position, then 2 Alfa Romeos behind with Gabs and a return driver to this league, Hipperi Latte. I'm not good at Finnish names, so I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Anyways, we'll have to do with it. Nearest championship rival down the order quite a bit, so that's good news for me at least, that I've outqualified my rival. When it comes to fuel load, it's quite interesting. You can actually underfuel around here, or at least with my particular setup I could underfuel the car. Doesn't seem to be a common thing around most tracks, so just wanted to highlight that. It's quite an easy soft to mediums I would say. You have to be wary of your tire temperatures right at the start of the race. You could possibly do soft hards as well, but I don't feel like that's the greatest strategy, as the 5 lights are on, and they kept on for quite a while. But we're underway now, and my teammate got a very good start there, challenging Basti a little bit into turn 1, but nothing she could do there. In the meanwhile, one of the Alfa Romeos, or in fact Gabs, had disconnected on the formation lap, so he's currently not driving his car, which means Kronex has got a good start, and he managed to get his Mercedes up into 4th place now. So going through the S's, there's basically nothing you can do in terms of trying to overtake someone. unless you basically entered side by side into the S's, there's just no way you're making your way past anyone here. So let's try to keep the race clean and don't pick up any warnings, and for now let's try and stay with Pasty and my teammate. I was understeering quite a bit there through the hairpin. For now though, we'll have to make sure we stay as close as possible to the cars ahead, so used a little bit of ERS. But basically what I noticed early on in this race already was that I was not particularly quick around here in terms of race pace. My teammates definitely had the better race pace out of us two at least, and Pasty was also looking really strong here. So we'll just skip for, well, we'll do a bit of a time lapse actually for a couple of laps. As you can see, gap to Cronexus is growing, and it's actually hovering right about a second right now. So this third lap will be quite crucial. If I can get out of the 1 second range before the DRS detection zone, which is basically right as you brake for the Casio triangle, then we'll break the DRS, and that's exactly what we do. So as a front three we're pulling away, but you can also see I'm basically hovering around the 8/10 gap to my teammates. So I was not particularly quick in this race, and I was getting carried along a little bit by the DRS here. Pasty was definitely running a higher wing than we were. I think, no, I'm not. Let's just not say anything more about my setup. I can't remember before I say things that are completely wrong. But I think I was running, let's say, an averagely low wing for Suzuka. And my teammate actually was running low wings because I think she was 1 click down, both on front and rear wing, relative to my setup. So you could see teammate was challenging Pasty on a previous lap, but nothing really doing there. And now she's going for it again, but couldn't quite make it stick, and had to make sure her front wing didn't get taken off there. So she had to back out of that move. Then lap 8, and you can see 3 second gap to Cronexus, and also McLaren pulling into the pit lane. So Pasty definitely favors the undercut here, and probably one of us should have pitted as well, but we'll see where he comes out. And as we zoom in onto the minimap now, you can see the McLaren in the first sector there. It's behind an Alfa Romeo at the moment, and I can confirm that's Gabs who has rejoined the session again, the other Alfa Romeo behind. That is Hippery Latte and the Red Bull of Simu, Rally Monster behind that. So at this moment in time, Pasty is getting held up by that Alfa Romeo. So that's definitely a good thing for both me and my teammates, because that means that we can essentially stay out a little bit and get fresher tires for the end of the race. Now what you're about to see here is definitely quite a sizable mistake. One of us should have pitted here, and we both decide not to do it because we thought, well, Pasty is stuck right now, he lost quite a lot of time. Perhaps it's better if we try to overcut. So we actually both went for quite a significant overcut. Teammate was having worse tire wear than I was having, so that's why my teammate's coming into the pit lane, and she of course has priority now for being first driver out on track. So that means I'm gonna overcut on to lap 11 now, as we'll stay on board for a little bit just to see how good these tires still felt at least. And as you can also see, currently green on my fastest lap, so it means I'm improving my personal best time. And yeah, I actually thought this overcut would have worked quite a bit, but you'll see in a couple of moments it didn't really turn out to be that way, as my teammate rejoined right about a second behind Pasty. So she's definitely in a good position, 2 lap fresher tires than Pasty for the rest of the race. So for myself, of course, selecting the medium tires, make sure they're selected. Then going through the Casio triangle and into the pit lane we go. End of lap 11, braking just before that, well, overarching thing across the pit lane. Then you can just see, there go my teammate and Pasty, and also Marcus, who was an alternative strategy runner but already being overtaken by the front runners. And you can see, gap to my teammate, 3 seconds now. So besides doing what in my experience felt as quite a good in-lap, it actually turned out not to be so. and the undercut was very powerful there. But of course, this is where our strategy comes into play. We have 3 lap fresher tires than Pasty, so theoretically I should be able to close up to them later on in this race. In the meanwhile though, we have to deal with Marcus, who is on the alternative strategy, and I'm not sure why he's letting his AI control here. I read afterwards that he was having some problems with his wheels and his force feedback, so that's probably one of the reasons why he's in AI mode right now. But I do catch him at quite an annoying place here on the track, right here at Spoon, and actually there's a virtual safety car right now, so not entirely sure what for, but I do know that this is quite annoying. And fortunately for me, the AI car of Marcus does decide to come into the pit lane, but I was not wary of the fact that there were still alternative strategy runners out there. So right as I come out of the pit lane, I see that Iceman was coming out of the pit lane, and I think the pit lane exit was basically right as you go into the first corner, and I had to make sure I was ahead there, but I actually overdid it. I missed my braking point and went into the gravel for a brief moment. But you can see safety cars ending, and actually I think Iceman was on a bit of a different delta relative to me, because I was 2 seconds up on my delta and Iceman had to slow down there in order not to get a penalty. But overall didn't get wing damage, but that would have been really dreadful for my race if I did get some damage there. Then of course also Hippery Latte and Cronexus closed up to me now. And one thing I knew from my FRL race was that having hard tires at this stage of the race is definitely not the best, because, well, mediums are so much faster, and I had to make that overtake immediately, because that means I can try and pull away from Iceman right now. And, well, that's exactly what I'm going to try and do. So, used quite a bit of ERS on that straight, and of course with the help of DRS and my relatively good straight line speed in this race, I managed to get ahead of him. And you can also see here, we're hovering right at about 1 second, so I've already used up quite a bit of ERS, but I'm gonna keep the ERS on. I think Iceman was running even lower on ERS than I was, and I think I had the advantage of the straight line speed, so I managed to break the DRS here, and we're over a second clear of Iceman. DRS is not extremely important, because you only get it down this start-finish straight here, which probably gains you about a tenth or a tenth and a half, but it really is not that significant. But it's better to be out of DRS range rather than, well, it's better, of course, still better to have someone out of your DRS range rather than having to carry him along for the rest of the race. Unfortunately though, you can see I'm on a 3-second time penalty right now. Potentially one warning I could have got removed, but it actually turned out to be, well, it was very, very marginal with track limits. I personally don't think I was over. But more important things just happened. You could see in the Casio triangle, made a bit of a mistake. I got the car unstable and nearly spun, but overall I did lose about a second. So that means that now Iceman is once again back into the DRS range. And you can see he's actually really close here on the start-finish straight. So had to make sure I used my ERS to defend. And, well, we have recharged a little bit over the previous laps, but due to having to defend from him there, we're once again down to basically below 30. In the meanwhile though, you can also see Pasty and my teammate 7 seconds ahead, so it just really showed I didn't have the pace in this race. Even though I'm on 3 lap fresher tires than Pasty, I couldn't do anything about it. So, bit of a shame. I do think undercutting would have been better, at least lap 8 or lap 9. Instead of trying to go for a very aggressive overcut, because in the end that lost me a lot of time. In the meanwhile though, I'll show a couple of clips from my teammate's battle with Pasty, and she got shoved a little bit onto the grass there and nearly lost it coming onto the main straight. Then final lap of the race, they're going side by side here, and right at the exit, a lot of contact, pushed completely onto the grass. And in the end, I think it was very, very marginal, but only just about fair, because, well, if you pause the video and look right at the moment where the exit of the corner is, basically the wheels were just tangled in each other. So, yeah, I do think it's just about fair defense from Pasty there. In the meanwhile though, you could see I actually managed to pull away from Hippery Latte and Iceman. In fact, Hippery I think lost DRS for the first time about lap 24 out of 27. And at that moment I could just pull away a little bit more and make sure I was more than 3 seconds ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver. Good race by him for his first race back in the league, finishing in P5. For myself, it's a P4 finish with Iceman in third. He got very fortuitous with the moment or the timing of the virtual safety car. Pasty winning the race, teammate in second. And my nearest championship rival, Solid Ninja, down in P7. I'm glad that my internet kept it up this race, basically no lag spikes, so that's good. Next race in China, the championship could already be decided, so if you don't want to miss that, and if you do fancy subscribing to the channel, I would highly appreciate it, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye.